早上好，中国. So today we're going to talk about China's divorce epidemic. Yes, unfortunately, China in 2024, has one of the highest divorce rates in the world. Well, you might not agree with me. You might be a person of a Chinese ethnic background. You can't say that nobody in your immediate family has been divorced. Well, that's not the case for me. So I've been living in China for a while now. I got to find out more about my family because I've been away for 8 years. A lot more divorces has happened in my family, believe it or not. And the main issue is that I'll tell you, okay, there are a lot of contributing factors, but I think one thing that's being overlooked, it's the grandparents. They are a major problem, and I'm talking about not just the current grandparents. I'm talking about when they became brand new parents. So think about what happened, right? Think about, I'm talking way back in the day when these Chinese women, when they're pumping out babies like crazy, when everybody had 5, 6, 7 children. Yeah, back in the day, even me, I was kind of, in the transition period. When I was at school, my teacher, they used to regularly beat the shit out of me, and that doesn't happen anymore. And I think sometimes, students, they need to get their ass whipped. For example, if you give out a test, sometimes I understand, right? If the assignment, the test is too difficult, if a bunch of students failed, if the class average is only 50%, I completely understand. But if you give out an easy test, let's say if the class scores 80%, right, and student gets 37%, yeah, you should absolutely take out the meter stick and you should beat the shit out of them. Now, I'm serious. I think many of these children, the next generation of China, the millennials and the Gen Z, they're lacking this kind of a discipline. They're lacking the father figure, and also the grandparents are the issue. So think about it, right? Back in the day, way back, 50s, 60s, everybody had 5, 6, 7 children. The parents they regularly use the physical violence on their kid to discipline them because they'll just think that, if I kill this one, I'll just make another one. It's no big deal. Back then, everybody had so many children. Then 1980s rolled around, right? One child policy. And by the way, I'm not just trying to pinpoint the blame on women. I'm talking about this is an issue between both man and woman. So when everybody only had one child, all the parents, right? This is this generation's grandparents now. Back then, when they were brand new parents, they would say things like, "Oh my God, my son, you're my only child. You are so special. I love you so much. You are the prince. You're the king of the world. I'm going to make you the world's #1. I'll buy anything you want to. You want to go to Florida? You want to visit Disneyland? I'll take you there. You want to go to Vail, Colorado during the winter for a skiing trip? I'll take you there. You want a BMW for your 18th birthday? I'll buy you a BMW. You want a Mercedes? I'll give you a Mercedes. I'll do anything I can to make you happy." And so this is a major problem, right, for both man and woman. And they're telling their daughters, "Oh my God, you're a princess. You're so beautiful. You're 1 in a million. You're future Miss Universe. You're going to enter all these beauty pageants. You're going to be a runway model. Oh girl, you are a 10. You're so special. You deserve a top 1% man." So yeah, a lot of this generation, right, obviously for me it's different. Yes, I do have 2 siblings, and this is partly due to the many divorces in my family. But the next generation of these Chinese people, yeah, they're screwed because they've never ever been told no their entire childhood. What do you think happens when they grow up? What do you think happens when they get married when they're 25? When for their entire childhood they've been told that, "Oh my God, you are king. You are #1. You are the prince, right? You are the god of the world." Or you've been told that, "Oh yes, you go queen, slay. You're a princess. You're so special." And yeah, of course, when they grow up, they're going to act like a little bitch. What do you think? When you have these 2 people, both grew up as the only child in their family, both have been basically completely spoiled rotten. They have never ever been told no in their entire life. And yeah, what happens? What do you think these couple, when they can meet, let's say when they're in university, when they're 18 years old, and they date for a few years and they get married at 24, there's a 90% chance that marriage is going to end up in divorce. Because you have 2 people who have never ever been told no in their life, and they're completely spoiled rotten, right? And so this is a massive crisis. And as you guys can see, this is very evident worldwide, right? As you guys can see, the birth rates are collapsing. So many couples that are either choosing to not have children or they only have 1. And what happens when you only raise 1 children instead of raising 6, right? When you have 6, when you get rid of 1, it's no big deal. You still got 5 more, and you can still pump out the 3 more after that. But when you're raising 1 children, all these kids are being told that, oh my God, yes, you are my everything in this world. I'm going to make you the king of the world. That's why, in the West, you have this woke ideology. Unfortunately, the schools, they're not really helping you at all. They're turning into indoctrination centers, right, for these youths. They're telling you that everything that has gone wrong in your life is because of other people around you. It is because of society. Well, let me tell you something. This is the ultimate black pill. The number one problem in your life is you. Stop blaming other people. Yes, that's you. I'm talking about you. But unfortunately, so many youths today, just like the youths in China, this is no longer just a Western phenomenon, right? They've been told that they're so special for their entire childhood, and when they turn into adult, they act like a little bitch all the time. Sometimes when they run into a crisis, when they run into a problem, and sometimes it's 100% their fault. But instead of taking accountability, they start to blame everything around them. They start to blame society. They start to blame their friends and their family members. Once again, I'm not just talking about women, I'm talking about both men and women, because I have noticed that since I've returned to China, I've talked to these young Chinese youths. Some of them, they're definitely acting like straight up bitches from hell. That's why China has so many divorces now. And one thing I have to mention, right, this is also the problem. These parents who raised this generation, who raised the millennial and the Gen Z, right, who basically, some of them have completely failed as parents. They failed to punish the kid. They failed to discipline their kids. And nowadays, some of them, let's say they're grandparents. Even though China's one-child policy is gone, everything has gotten so expensive. Why is it so expensive to raise a kid? So I'll cover this point in a future video. So something that perhaps you guys haven't thought about. But one thing is that these parents, right, who they're now grandparents. Let's say they've only had one child, right, and their one child gets married. And for most cases, it's so expensive to raise children nowadays. So oftentimes, if they're lucky, they might only get one grandchildren. And what do you guys think happens, right? This is one of the many reasons why so many young couples, they're choosing to be childless. They're becoming dinks. What are dinks? Dual income, no kids, right? So what happens is, let's say, right, a couple gets married at 25, right? They're in a stable marriage. They're happy. They love each other. They say they have a son or a daughter. Then the grandparents, they come into the picture. They'll say, oh my God, look at you. You are so special. You're my only grandchild. Look at my granddaughter. Look at my grandson. I'm going to make you the king of the world, right? I'm going to buy you all the toys in the world. I'm going to fly you to the United States. I'm going to fly you to Canada. I'm going to fly you to Niagara Falls for a vacation. And if you ever get into an argument with your friends, with your family members, it is their fault. You're so precious. It can never, ever be your fault. Yeah, the grandparents, sometimes they come in and they completely mess up the marriage. Sometimes, yeah, this is what happens in so many cases. The grandparents, they come in, they completely mess up the marriage and the family dynamic for their children. And because they will completely spoil their grandchildren rotten. I've seen many of these older Chinese grandparents that they're retired, they only have a little bit of pension. They will even go as far as to, basically open up a credit card, or they will apply for a line of credit from the bank just to spend money on their grandchildren. They will buy them all these crazy expensive clothes. They will buy them these brand new cell phones, brand new laptops, brand new iPads, just to spoil them. It is absolutely ridiculous. That's why all these Chinese kids are acting like bitches from hell now. And I've even seen some Chinese children from sometimes in the evening after they get back from school, they'll fight over their parents just to watch TV. And sometimes if their parents, they want them to do homework, and if they don't give them the permission to watch TV, sometimes, yes, these kids, these young little Chinese brats, they will slap the shit out of their parents, and they will start telling the parents that basically they are the problem, they're everything that's wrong with society, and they want to bitch, then they want to argue, they want to fight, they're constantly combative. Yeah, this is one of the many contributing factors to why the divorces are through the roof in China, right? It doesn't matter whether you want to agree with me or if you want to disagree with me, but that is the reality, right? Almost every single marriage is toxic. Almost every single marriage is abusive. The majority of the marriages in China do end up in divorce now, right? The previous generation, the silent generation, the boomers, they had the greatest transfer of power and wealth on earth, but they have completely destroyed everything. They failed to raise the next generation properly, and many of them, they're not disciplining their children. They turn them into a bunch of spoiled brats, and look at the results. Even for the good ones, right, who end up getting married and they're happy, they're in a stable, good relationship, when they have a grandchild, they completely spoil their shit of their grandchildren, and they turn their grandchildren into a crazy woke entitled liberal leftist, and they start to fight their parents all the time, which is causing the downfall of their marriage. So yeah, it doesn't matter which part of the world you live in, whether you live in the east or the west. It's very unfortunate to say, but I think, you know, our world is coming to an end, and this is what's going to destroy humanity. It's going to be the fall of the nuclear family.